Hi, intrepid viewers. Dr. Lena in Australia. Well, who knew golfing was such a high-risk activity? Goodness gracious me, you know. I really wouldn't want to be in his security detail at the moment, would you? But we'll see who it is. Hopefully it's from that side of the fence. But we've got things to cover today. I'm responding to your questions. A lot of people want to know about Laura Loomer. We may get to her. JD Vance needs another look. And what's happening in Ohio. But first of all, I'm going to kick off with Eric Adams, Mayor of New York. He's having issues. Things are falling apart there. The NYPD police commissioner just had to resign after the FBI raided his house, and now his chief counsel has resigned. It's very close to the elections. I'm a bit worried about New York in terms of that. So let's have a look. I must say I was a bit shocked. Some of you who have watched me for a long time will know I lived in New York back in the day, the 70s, long time ago. And it was fabulous. You know, it was filthy and chaotic and fabulous. And then it got cleaned up. Well, really, did it? That's just code for gentrifying, really, trying to push the artists, musicians, and the immigrants out of the inner city into other places. But when I was in New York recently, I was a bit shocked at how run down it felt and looked. So something's not quite right with the Big Apple. Some money needs to be spent at JFK Airport, I do have to tell you. I was noticing so many workers at JFK were working in conditions that would not be tolerated here. By here, I mean in Australia. So some of the buildings aren't even air conditioned. They had fans that were like 6 feet across with really wide, spokes between the fan. Like if a 3-year-old brushed past and stuck their hand in, they would lose their arm. Workers were having to work around these huge monster fans, carrying things. So dangerous, so unnecessary. But let's have a look what's happening for Eric Adams and New York. They can't go to the dark side, can they? Here we go, Eric Adams, New York. Let's look. Okay. Now, here we have in the middle a very interesting card, I think. The hostage card. In a city that's as full on and dynamic as New York, it's actually really hard to do infrastructure, because how do you stop the subway for 3 months or something while you repair and upgrade it and stuff like this? It's really hard. So to a certain extent, local government has its hands tied. It's also the people have their hands tied. I think the majority tend to vote Democrat reliably, but they're feeling a bit frustrated. This could also be Eric Adams himself. So I think everyone's got everyone else hostage. There needs to be more financial cooperation. I'm sure New York has really high taxes for everything. So where are they being spent? I think follow the money. What is happening? Where is it spent? What is needed? Right. Now, here's the thing. On top is this Knight of Swords. And I don't think this is actually in this spread even a person. I think this is the energy for change. I think the Dems have to be really careful and come up with some really good concrete ideas, because this is sort of the winds of change. Don't want to win an obscure swing state and lose New York, like, wouldn't be good, would not be good. So there's this slightly manic and aggressive energy over the spread. What I think Mayor Adams has to do is go through his phone list and work out who is really a friend. By that, I don't mean a bosom buddy. I mean, who can you trust and who can come up with these plans for you? Because it needs to be revitalized in a big way. This is the world, this is big. And yes, the world loves New York, etc., etc. But in relation to this, it's the end of one whole way of being and doing, which is, I think, just letting things roll. And it needs a brand new approach with vision and probably a new person at the helm or someone to work with him. I feel he feels, Eric Adams feels really isolated. And he probably is. So I wish him well when his turn comes up, because need Dems everywhere. But that can happen in places that take governments for granted. Like, I'm in a very cool state. Well, very cool was a snap freeze, but this state votes Labor, meaning your Dems, and Green over and over and over. And it's easy to relax and think, but they can sneak in when you're not looking. So pay attention. I think New Yorkers, lifetime New Yorkers, don't take it for granted. Have some conversations with people, even help people to check on their registrations, to make sure they're voting. All right. Now, meanwhile, yes, Ohio. Now, in the Republican tradition, JD Vance has doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down, however many downs you can get on Ohio and Springfield and the Haitian immigrants. It's so insulting. It is so juvenile. It is so puerile. You just can't believe the really mundane place in which these people's heads are at. It's just full with viciousness and awfulness. It's just ghastly. So, meanwhile, in Ohio, and this is what I want to pick up here, the woman who actually started the rumor of the cats and dogs being plucked off the streets of Springfield and barbecued, it's just ridiculous. She has come out and apologized. At least she has had the decency to apologize. Does that make any difference? That'd be no. They keep saying it's a thing. So let's go general on Ohio. Are people believing this twaddle, or are they rolling their eyes and going, the Republicans are desperate, even if they're our people? Where, please, people from Ohio, jump in the comments from this video and let me know from the inside what's going on. So we're going to have a look at Ohio and the demonizing of the Haitians. Well, this is not good anywhere, right? But it's really not good. I think remember with this card, the Ten of Swords, it's not as bad as it seems. Like you look at this card, particularly in a personal reading, and someone will go, oh, it's not really like that. There's a bit about an aspect that I'd like to point out. People have done their best to do some damage, but they can't do any more. It's a 10, and the phoenix rises. It can be quite positive on a good day. It can be quite positive. So maybe Ohioans, is that the correct name? I'm sorry if I've got it wrong. They feel embarrassed and attacked through this nonsense. And maybe they have had enough of it. But has JD Vance? No, because he has no more clues. He's waiting for the same boats to circle around and come back. King of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. No. Okay, so what's going on here? This, I think, is about JD Vance, who, as we've all known since his name first went into the ring, he's hoping for the Yeti to be retired, like an old greyhound or something, and step into the big job. Okay, so he's still got these aspirations. How scary is that? Ooh, yuck. Can't relax. Okay, so that's him. The problem is for him and the GOP generally, this is a message about money. What's the message? You haven't got any. Right? They can't compete with Kamala and Tim Moss in terms of the fundraising. So he can't really make a dent in real terms in modern electioneering. So he's going to have to make the most of his one pentacle, and he's like a one-trick pony. If there is a vile, inhumane interpretation of what's going on anywhere, name a topic. If it's awful, he's there. Here's your guy. How can I make it worse? Okay, I'll roll with dogs and cats. You know, the poverty of imagination and vision is beyond description. Okay, so now we'll have a quick look at the Taylor Swift phenomenon. And as I'm sure you already knew, she got over 300,000 inspired huge numbers of people to go to vote.gov. Last night, the Yeti posts, I hate Taylor Swift. Look, when is his 9th birthday? Not his 79th, his 9th. If this was a 7 or 8-year-old, you'd be sitting them down, having a conversation about how rude and cruel it is to call people names. However, this is him. So I guess I'm just going to have a quick look, only a 3-carder on the Yeti, Taylor Swift, and then we've got to move to the very glamorous, very intelligent Laura Loomer. I am the Queen of Snark. I didn't mean that. Okay. I hate Taylor Swift. Oh my God. He's such a Neanderthal. Oh. Anyway, quick look. Let's. Oh my God. Look, he's clinging on. He's clinging on to everything that he can possibly hold on to. This is freaking him out. Cups are emotion. Page of Cups, sometimes known via Hogarth as a message about stinking fish. Stinky fish. Now, This is the Knight of Cups, the false knight. So he's going to keep doing this false messaging. That these cards are talking about false messaging. I don't think he's ever spoken a true word in his entire adult life. Does anyone know? Has he ever said anything that wasn't a provable lie? It's like insane. Now, before we get to Laura, let me just have a digression here. Sorry, new viewers, you have to get used to the digressions. Okay, so a week ago, Elon Musk was banned in Brazil. Now, most of us realise for young people, nothing's banned anywhere. They can get around firewalls and things. But it was a symbolic political act by Lula to say we don't want overt misinformation pumped through your platform, Elon. So it's fine to have a different opinion, but deliberate misinformation, no. So Elon spat and vomited and carried on and snarled. And then Australia, now, Australia has actually said the same thing. We do not want a platform deliberately spreading divisive and very dangerous misinformation. And Elon came back and has called our government fascists. And in a rare bipartisan moment, I'll put the clip up on this video. It's only 90 seconds. When he used the F word to describe Australian politicians, both sides came out and said what they thought of Elon. And it is quite amusing. All right. So, meanwhile, today, as we speak, I have to submit my tax return and I have to pay X thousand dollars. I don't begrudge tax as such, particularly when we've got universal healthcare. What I do resent is Google, Microsoft, Apple, all the giants who don't pay any tax when you and I have to. So I just want to have a little look because New Zealand has stood up. I'm loving this. There's a bit of a vibe going on. New Zealand, 5 million people, have stood up and said to Google, we expect you to pay some tax here. And of course, Google's got back and gone, oh. I hope it starts a trend. Let's have a quick look. Google, New Zealand, tax. I'm not expecting it to translate into them actually paying tax. Imagine that. Oh, trillionaire companies paying tax. We haven't even dreamt of it, for 70 years. But will it start a trend? Will there be some movement on this issue? Let's broaden it out. Will there be some movement on this issue? Okay. Making the big guys pay some tax. Oh, didn't expect that. Now, the problem with tarot is timing. I'd like to think this is talking about in the next year or so, could be in 25 years' time. No, it wouldn't come up like that. But you get my idea. I won't put a timeline on this. But what I will tell you is, you know what? Things are changing and you can feel it. Okay. So first of all, we've got the Hermit, which is basically, in financial terms, these companies operate in the twilight zone, literally. Who is monitoring the finances of these gigantic? Well, the answer would be nobody. Everyone's afraid of them, it's so meh. But it's becoming a burden to each country that could be alleviated. I'm not in favor of progressive tax. In other words, if you earn a huge amount of money, you pay a huge percentage. No, 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 no. Just choose a number in the low 20s even, or randomly what people roughly pay. And so Google Singapore should pay Singapore that their little bit of that wouldn't be little. Australia, if they could pay a percentage of their earnings in that country. So in other words, Australia's not asking for 25% of what Google is. No. But if they're making significant money in any country, paying tax. And people are getting sick of being told there's no money to feed children or build a school or staff a hospital, but they swan off. Why I'm excited, I'm thrilled. It's time. It's time. What happens is people get outraged by this and then it dies and something else dramatic takes up. No, it's time. It has to be dealt with. Strength card, i.e. the people have the strength to do this. But the only way it'll happen, but these are big cards, countries have to get together. They can get together to buy and sell oil and weapons. Like Australia hosted a weapons expo last week. Can you believe that? The police were out in numbers I haven't seen in 20 years. So I don't want you to think Australia's just rosy. But the point is they can get together to start wars, but not to finish them. They can get together to get access to countries to get your attention, get your consumer dollar, but they can't quite work out the tax. No, this has to change. New era. Make them pay their way. They use postal services, delivery services, roads, all the infrastructure of every country they're in, all the high-tech stuff that gets their product into your home. They don't pay for that. And I think it's about time they did. So on that very positive note, oh my God. All right. So we'll check in next time. So guys, stay well, look after yourself, and don't forget to have a bit of a good time. Bye for now. See you next time.